Nathan Keller is preparing to return to Rochester, where for the first time since August, he'll be back home.
But he will be in a different home. Keller had to sell his house after he had his accident because his house could no longer accommodate him. It wasn't handicap accessible. It's one of many changes he's had to embark as he starts this new journey, a difficult journey, one as life as a quadriplegic, paralyzed from the chest down. Take us back to the day in August when this all happened. It was a typical summer day, going to hang out with a friend?
Yeah, Beth was house sitting for her parents, and I always love going up there because there's a lake for one, and I have always been a water baby. The dogs get to run, and I've dove off that dock like 100 times, and like I said, I used to be a swimmer, so I didn't even think about it at all, but dove off, and the next thing I know, I'm floating up, and I was facing the dock, and I was just like, oh, I can't move my arm, and I was like, oh, I better hold my breath. So I held my breath as I floated up.
And you were airlifted to Fargo?
To Fargo, yep. And then I saw the images, and I was like, oh, this is really bad, because I've been on call cases and seen worse stuff, and I knew that it was serious. Obviously, since I couldn't move, I knew that it was bad.
What did the surgery repair or do?
I was lucky because right afterwards they used traction to kind of realign my spine. So traction is they'll put weight, pulling weight, so it's kind of cantilevered, on your head and kind of try to realign. So they did that, gradually, and would take an x-ray every half an hour and see what the progress was, and they got up to like 40 some pounds. So I have a big head and it takes a lot of weight to move it, but so that actually was really effective in kind of minimizing the displacement of the spine.
And from that point on, it's been physical therapy
Yep.
and learning how to...
Pretty much everything, yeah. Like when I was still in Fargo, like people were feeding me. I couldn't move my arms and stuff.
So you've made big strides.
Yeah, I feel like I have. It's just hard to remember that. And like my sister came down when I was at Mayo and would be like, I just saw you 2 weeks ago and you already have made a huge change. So that was actually one of the best things to hear, because you don't see it every day. Just like, you don't notice your hair growing. Mm-hmm. So
how are you adjusting emotionally to a new normal?
I think I'm doing pretty well. There's always going to be some kind of down days, but I've been lucky not to have very many of them. I mean, you're always discovering things that you can't do, and it's like, that's one thing that was always like impressed upon me right away, is like, you can't do that yet. But we started with, just OT and PT while I was still in Fargo, actually. But then it was very intensive once I got down to Mayo.
And then what is your hope moving forward? I mean, you've come a long ways already, but there's still more work to be done.
There's still more. I definitely want to go back to work, and I'm going to have to pay my bills, so that's no surprise. But I don't know what that's going to look like. You just never know what's going to happen, good or bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have a great attitude.
Yeah, thank you.
That's impressive.
I try. I feel like it could always be worse.
It could always be worse. Thanks, Nate.
Yep.
And a benefit tomorrow will raise money to pay for Keller's medical care and equipment. His care will be lifelong, and his equipment, just his wheelchair, $80,000. That benefit being held at the American Legion in Iota starts at 3 o'clock. You can also donate to a link that we have posted with this story on our website at KAAL-TV.com. Such a positive guy.
I was going to say, I love his spirit. He's so positive, smiling the whole time. I couldn't even imagine your life just being changed like that overnight, doing something you love and do every day.
And he'd done before, too.
Yeah.